Hi everybody, thanks for tuning in and joining me for part 2 of this special edition, Remnants of an Ancient Civilization on Mars, the series in which I review the past 2 years of research that I've been doing into these anomalies and artifacts. This is the evidence so far, many more JP2s to go through in the future. So let's get cracking on with part 2. And we're starting off with epic destruction in Terra Chimeria on Mars. And as always, this is the description of the blog and YouTube video, and then just underneath it the reference to the original NASA source, and then the scale indicator to the right, giving you an approximation of how large these anomalies are. So the first one, we've got this little pyramidal feature over there. It's about 12 by 12 meters, and unusual about it is the narrow rectangular opening on the side. Looks like we have a little supporting structure there, and I wonder if this is an opening to this little structure. And there on the side we've got a donut shaped part with a hole in it. Then also from the same video and blog post, we've got this cube. Each side measures about 8 meters long, and check that out, smooth flat surfaces, straight edges, 90-degree angles there, and in the center as usual we have a protrusion or knob. Right, this strange artifact over there looks almost like some type of wreckage. That piece is about 14 meters long, and it's curled up against another piece over there. Check it, the straight edges to it, 90-degree angles, and then this rounded shape there. As I say, it looks pretty much like wreckage, maybe even an entranceway to the underground, who knows. Look at the way that curves down there. It's got this triangular shape to it. Right, then a hole over there in the Martian surface about 10 meters in diameter, and it's got some megalithic blocks arranged in a triangular pattern around it. Check out this over here. It looks like another one of these discs. This one's covered in dust and sand. I wonder if that is the cover to this hole. Right, then objects aligned geometrically in our Gaia Planitia on Mars, and we're checking out this strange object over there. Has a diameter of about 12 meters, and on it is a little dome of about a meter, meter and a half in diameter. We've got the crescent shape, check it that. Very similar to some other objects. These are from part 1 of this series, and there's a depiction of a saucer with the same sort of design as that there. And I believe the craft that crashed in Roswell is also like this plan shape. Very unusual to see it on Mars as well. Right, then we're looking at this object. As I say, I'm looking at the most compelling evidence in this series. You can check there's lots of other anomalies around here. I've covered these in previous videos. Check this out. That's about 12 meters wide by 15 meters tall, and it's got 3 dark spots on it, also arranged in a triangle, and each one is the same size. Look at this part that's hollowed out there, got a perfect curvature to it, and it's got a sphere or ball right there that's about a meter in diameter. Check out this disc. It's about 12 meters in diameter, and as usual, we have a protrusion in the center, and in this case we've got smaller parts arranged in a circular pattern around it. Also a very common design feature, we'll check more of those out in a couple of slides to come. This is about 10 meters wide, and on top of it we've got this really weird object. We've got straight edges to it, 90-degree angles, seems to curve over this disc-like object at the bottom. Check out this, another one of these strange ventilation type anomalies. Looks like a ventilation system, maybe even some type of outpost or habitat. That's about 8 by 10 meters, and it's on top of a larger base structure. We've got straight edges and right angles. It's also got a partial circular shape to it. Parallel to this one side we've got that it looks like an opening. It's also raised off the surface. Check that out. Wreckage maybe even. Okay, strange circular object north of Huxley on Mars. Check out this one over here. That's about 10 meters in diameter. It's got a rounded shape to it, like a convex shape. Perfect round disc. Looks like that there might even be a straight edge. Not quite sure. Check out this piece. Another one of these rectilinear objects. That's about 12 meters across. And it's got straight edges here on the one side. Slot cut in there. Right angles. And then two rather weird openings over here on the side next to one another. So what the heck could that be? Right, then we're looking at these strange pillbox type anomalies. They look like those found in World War I and II. Pure speculation. This is from ancient ruins and tech, southeast of Douglas crater on Mars, and that disk is about 15 meters across. And on top of it we've got this, looks like a hatch, pillbox type design, elevated off the right hand side here, and two parts aligned in front of it. Also looks as if it's slightly curved on the one side here, like a metal plate. Rather strange. Lots of these. This is also from the same blog post and YouTube video. That disc is about 15 meters across, and on top of it we've got another one of these hatch type anomalies with what looks like an opening over here. Check out that straight edge, and in front of it we've only got one part, and also looks almost like a piece of metal that's been bent. Check out the curves over here. Another one, this one's about 12 meters in diameter, and on top of it we've got this bright object. Looks almost like it could be a type of an opening as well, and in front of it we've got that dome-like object there. There's also one on this side. So there they are for comparison. Check out the similarities, all from the same JP2, the same region of Mars. And we've also got strange anomalies arranged around them. Check that out. Circular pattern there. Right, then, as I say, these are pillboxes from World War I. The comparison is quite uncanny. Could these be remnants of some type of defense structures on Mars? Right, then we in craft pull boxes and scrap in Ulysses Rupes on Mars. And we're looking at this object over here. It's about 10 by 12 meters, and on top of it we've got another one of these hatch type designs to get the perfect arc to it. Straight edges there. Looks as if this is a piece of it as well. Another looks like disc shape over there. Looks like metal sheet or plates. Whenever that's some type of structure as well. Right, then we're looking at this weird one. That's about 10 by 12 meters, and it's got this dome shape to it. Yeah, I've rotated it 180 degrees. Look at the symmetry and geometry in this. It's got like a skirt going around the outside, and then this dome feature in the center, and then the triangular opening on the side. Don't know what that is. Maybe it's some type of little habitat, or maybe even a craft. Alright, let's check. Yeah, we're looking at these anomalies, and that disc is about 10 meters in diameter, and the dome on top is about 4 meters across. Next to it we've got like a ribbed artifact. Check that out. We've got 1, 2, 3, and then the center going through there. The gap between these, symmetry and geometry going on there again. And then yeah, we've got another one of these rectangular blocks, an anomaly arranged through the diagonal. We'll have a look at many more of those in part 3 of this series. Check out that one, another disc. That one's about 8 meters in diameter, and that little circular object on the top is about 4 meters or 3 meters in diameter. It looks almost like a little UFO. Classic little UFO with a dome on it. Also, could that be a hatch? To get the rectangular piece next to it. Alright, there they are next to one another for comparison. Then we're going to Ancient Wreckage and Structures East of Ready on Mars Part 2, and we're looking at alignment of smaller knobs or protrusions. Over there, that piece is about 8 by 8 meters, and on top of it 2 protrusions same size, arranged parallel to this side over here. Right, look at this piece. Looks like a ship's rudder, maybe even a wing. Who knows what this is. That piece there is about 4 by 4 meters, this little piece over here. And look at the way this has been carved. It's got this arc to it. And then this piece over there, like I said, looks like some type of rudder. Reminds me of this huge anomaly covered in part 1 of this series, also with like a rudder design over there. Also rounded, same as here. Very odd. Then we're looking at small structures on larger bases. This thing here is from part 1. The Sidonian Neolithic artists and builders on Mars, and that little square object over there is about 4 by 4 meters, and on top of it we've got a little dome. As I said, it's on top of this larger structure. Look at these straight edges here, right angle. There's another one from part 1 of this series. Also a larger structure with a little square or rectangular part on top. with straight edges and right angles. Get the rounded shape. Right, then we're looking at a weird little triangular object. I think there's more of these. I'll cover that in part 3 of this series. So that triangle is about 12 meters across, and very unusual at the apex. It's got this little conical feature right there. Symmetry and geometry again. Right, then we're looking at what I call a sarcophagus design. Many of these on Mars as well. Not that they are, but yeah, very weird. This thing's about 10 meters wide by about 15 meters long. It's got the spot to the left that looks as if it's folded over this part over here to the right. And then it's got 2 protrusions on it. Alright, check this piece out. That's about 10 by 15 meters as well. And it's got this rectangular design. These straight bevels cut into it. And in 2 rows on top we've got these smaller protrusions or knobs that correspond to one another. Check that out. Another weird piece there with a little square on it on that one side. This piece measures about 15 by 10 meters, and each side of this little part on top is about 4 meters long, and it's right there in the center of this one edge. So we've got straight edges here, right angle there too. Okay, now we've got a quarter of a disc. This one measures about 10 meters across, and it's partially buried in the surface. Check out the round arc to it. And in front of it over there we've got this like oval dome-like object as well. This looks like it's part of a larger disc that broke off, and I'll show you why I say that coming up in the next few slides. We got another partial hexagon. This thing is huge. That side there is about 12 meters long. So we've got 12 by 12 meters, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4 sides visible. And if you draw a center line through there, we've got an object over here to the left and one to the right, and a dark spot there. Also some symmetry and geometry going on there, guys and girls. That looks like an eye that's been carved into this huge megalithic piece there. That's about 10 by 15 meters, and the eye, I call it an eye, not that it is, it could be some type of little glyph. That's about 4 meters across. Check it, the design looks like an eye with a little pupil there in the center. Also, I found lots of these. I think I'll show more of those in part 3 of this series. And then this strange bow-like object there, that's about 15 meters across. Check out that there. I only notice it now. It's almost like an Egyptian ankh. Very interesting. Okay, so the bow shape, that, like this ornate piece. I wonder if this is a carving from some other sculpture. That's huge. okay. Check out the alignment of smaller dots on this piece. That measures about 4 by 4 meters, and it's got 3 dots on it, arranged in a triangle. More of those to come, so check that out. This is from part 1 of the series, also 3 parts, aligned geometrically in a triangular pattern. Right, then we're checking out another sarcophagus type design over there. That's about 8 by 15 meters, and it's got this line running through the center. Looks almost like it's 2 parts next to one another, and to the one side here we've got, looks like a horseshoe shaped object there. Also there we've got another one of these smaller eye type of symbols, little pupil there. There the 2 are next to one another, almost similar designs. We're still looking at part 1, the Sidonian Neolithic artists and builders on Mars. And we're looking at that small object there, and it measures about 4 by 6 meters, and the little dome on it is about 1.5 meters in diameter, and it's got straight edges and a right angle there too. We'll have a look at some more of those. Check out this piece, megalithic slab. In its center we've got that small protrusion or knob, and this piece is about 16 meters across and about 12 meters wide. It's always amazing to see these protrusions or knobs in the centers, like the megalithic blocks of South America. And there's that block we featured at the beginning of this video, just to give an idea of the similarities in design. Check out that, looks like an Egyptian ankh. This is from part 2, the Sidonian Neolithic artists and builders on Mars. That piece is about 15 meters long, and the circular part is about 4 meters in diameter. And there it is up close. We've got the straight part, the cross, the side here is partially covered in sand, and then the circular part there. They have rotated it to match up to that symbol that we find in Egypt. This is also from part 2. Get these straight edges on this piece. Each side there is about 8 meters long. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sides, straight edges, geometry and symmetry again. I don't know how these could occur naturally. Check this piece out. We've seen something similar. This is about 12 by 14 or 15 meters, and it's got straight edges, right angles, and then arranged in a row here and there, parallel to one another. We've got the smaller parts or protrusions, and they correspond to one another as well. And there's that one that we featured a couple of slides ago. More similarities there. Check this piece out. More alignment or placement of smaller parts. This piece here is about 12 by 14 meters. Check that out there, two protrusions on that one. Right, so let's zoom in on that. And get this, arranged along the edge, we've got these smaller protrusions or knobs. Check out that there. There's another one of these little classic UFO designs that's about 3 meters across. But we're going to be checking out that strange part there. It measures about 3 by 5 meters on top of that huge block. Look at the part over here curved down to the side here. Very similar to another one I'll show you. There's what looks like an obelisk lying on its side. That one's about 15 meters long and about 3 meters wide. And this is from part 3, the Sidonian Neolithic artists and builders on Mars. Still in the same JP2. So check that out. Comes up to a triangular point at the top. And I say it reminds me of the obelisks in Egypt. Got the similarity. Right, here we're looking at this object on that block. It's about, let's see, that part is about 5 meters across. Zoom up close. Get these straight edges here, 90-degree angle. On top of this part we've got that protrusion or knob in the center. And there's similar ones. Get the commonality in this. Got the larger bases with these smaller objects on the corners or on the sides. This piece over here is about 12 by 15 meters, and on its side we've got that smaller part with a sort of an eye glyph or design in it, the pupil in the center here, something sticking out there, not quite sure. Also check out the rounded part, looks almost like a tombstone. And there's that one we featured a couple of slides ago. Get the similarity again. Here we're looking at this piece. That's about 12 by 15 meters, and I've featured many of these already. This is 3 parts separated over there, and close to the center we've got a smaller part. So this is from part 1, both of these. Another partial disc over there. This thing's massive, it's about 20 meters across, and it consists of 2 quarter discs, and you get the 2 protrusions or knobs on each one of those. And that's where that piece that I featured earlier comes into play. Check that, it's a quarter disc, also has a smaller part on it, like it is in this case as well. Each of these has got a smaller part on it. More geometry of smaller glyphs or parts on that one. This piece is about 12 meters across, and up close we can see a row of smaller parts aligned in a triangle with that brighter piece there. Similar ones, these are from part 1. Look at the alignment there as well. This one over here, very similar to that one up there. And then this huge bright disc, that's about 12 meters in diameter, and it seems to be lying up against that ridge, or it might be parts of it sticking out there. Check this out, another one of these partial hexagon shapes. This is from part 1, the disks and ruins of Pyramus Fossae on Mars, and that piece is about 15 meters across, and each side there is about 8 meters long. So check that out. 1, 2, 3, 4 of the sides visible, flat smooth surface, and geometry and symmetry going on there again. Another disc-like object there. We're going to be looking at many of these. That there is about 14 to 15 meters in diameter, and in the center we've got that rounded dome shape, and evenly spaced we've got those two dark spots. And it reminds me of a similar disc featured earlier in this video. We've got the part in the middle, and then the two smaller parts on either side. Right, check this out, another one of these obelisk type anomalies, and that piece there is about 15 to 14 meters long, and it's lying on the side of that dune. And there the two are for comparison. Part 2, the disks and ruins of Pyramus Fossae on Mars. We're looking at this little triangular object on that larger piece there, and each side there is about 4 meters long. That's 4 by 4 meters, and it's lying very close to the center of that object. Get the two straight sides here, and there's a similar little triangular object from part 1 of this series. Check out this disc. It's about 15 meters across, and it's got this weird pumpkin seed or plectrum shaped object in its center, and that piece is about 6 meters long, and on either side we've got the two smaller parts. Again, symmetry going on there. Reminds me of that one featured earlier. This is also a very, very unusual object over there. Pristine condition, and it's about 6 meters across, and the little dome on it is about 2 meters in diameter. Through the center we've got that piece sticking off to the one side, and there's a similar piece from part 1, also has like a disc shape to it, little dome on it, and a piece sticking off to the one side. We're going to be looking at that part over there, which is about 12 meters across, and specifically the placement of these smaller parts in a circular pattern. Very similar to that object over there from part 1 of this series, so arranged in a circular pattern. We're having a look at some more of those. Here we're looking at part 3, the disks and ruins of Pyramus Fossae, and that small object over there, it looks like a little craft, and it's about 5 meters in diameter, and the clearing underneath it measures about 12 by 12 meters. Up close we can see that square clearing underneath it, and look at that, we've got the disc-like design little dome in the center, and then on either side what looks like two little wings. I wonder if it crashed or landed over there. It's partially buried, covered in sand here to the bottom left. Right, here we're looking at this triangular object to the left over here, and each side of that triangle is about 6 meters long. We've got 6 by 6, and it's on top of a larger piece. Look at the symmetry of this design. More of those to come. Okay, over here we're going to be checking out that piece there. More discs over here, guys and girls, check that out. Those are about 10 meters in diameter, and in their centers we've got the smaller parts. Let's zoom in on this and I'll show you why I've chosen that one. It's got like a little cigar shaped object on it, which is about 4 meters long. Very, very unusual as well. Now we're looking at this circular object over there that measures about 12 meters across. Up close it looks like this part is like layered on top of that disc-shaped object there. And it's also got a protrusion or knob on it. This L shape. Very unusual. This is also a very unusual anomaly. This is part 4, the discs and ruins of Pyramus Fosse, and we're looking at this disc, which is about 12 meters in diameter. There's another one over there, and on top of this one we've got like a little triangular part, the 90-degree angle over there, and then that one over there we've got a smaller part close to the center, and then 4 dark spots arranged in a square pattern around it. And yeah, we'll be checking out that anomaly and this one down here. Similarities between those two. This piece over here measures about 6 by 8 meters, and it looks almost like a piece of fossilized bone. Get this piece in the center. It's got like a disc shape to it as well. And then this one down here, that measures about 12 meters long, and the small disc that's wedged between those two is about 5 meters across. We've got the 2 parts, and in the center this disc shaped object. So there we've got a small little spherical object of about a meter across. And there the two are for you to compare. Right, another disc, very bright disc over there. It's about 8 meters in diameter, and it's lying on its side, partially buried over here to the bottom left. Get that perfect circular shape. And then this one, this piece is about, let's see, 14 to 15 meters across. The small dome or circular part on the top is about 4 meters in diameter, and we can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sides. Yeah, we're looking at odd geometric objects north of Koblenz on Mars, and specifically we're checking out this little disk over there of about 4 meters in diameter, and it's on the edge of this what looks like crumbled up Wreckage. Check that. Perfect circular shape, and this piece underneath is slightly elevated. Looks like Wreckage. Look at the straight edge, 90-degree angle to that part, and then this raised portion on the center of that disc. And if you look at the shadow, this piece is definitely elevated above the surface. Utopia planitia and its dozens of saucer-shaped objects. And we're checking out that one there, which is about 8 meters in diameter, and it's got this little conical or pyramidal feature in its center, partially covered in sand here to the left. Like most of these, they seem to have come in from the northeast at a diagonal angle like this, down to the southwest, and crashed into the surface. You'll see many of these discs are covered in sand and dust on their left. Right, then that strange one over there. This is about 15 meters across, and in the center we've got that smaller circular part, and through the center line we've got that piece going off the one side. If we draw a center line through there, we've got symmetry as well in that piece. Another disc over there, also very bright. It's about 8 meters in diameter, and as I said earlier, the disc seems to have crashed over there. Only the one side to the right is still visible. It's also got like a little oval protrusion in its center. So there the discs are for you to compare. And it reminds me of these massive discs that they discovered in Russia. This one is, I think, between 3 and 5 meters in diameter, and that one, you can check there, there's another one that they discovered, and these were about 30 meters underground. They were busy with some other construction, and they uncovered these discs. This is another one on Mars. Spirit rover photographed this one, and this was in home plate. Still with Utopia planitia and its dozens of saucer-shaped objects. We've got that part over there with geometry in the pattern on top. That piece is about 12 by 12 meters, and check out the small parts on it, same size, arranged in a triangle yet again. And that's from part 1. This one we covered in a previous slide in this video. Also 3 dark spots in a triangle. I don't know what they're trying to depict, but yeah, undeniable similarities going on. Okay, there as well. That piece there is about 12 meters across, and the hole in the center is about 2 meters in diameter. And this is, what makes it unusual, this ring around it. Check out the way those dark spots are placed or arranged on top of it. Okay, interlocking parts, many of those to come. Part 3, I'll show you a couple more. This is about 15 meters across, and we've got 2 parts. Got the L shape and this piece, it seems to fit into it. Got a knob or protrusion there, and corresponding one on this part. Very much like those that we find in the megalithic ruins in South America. Okay, yeah, we're looking at structures and debris in Dune Field west of Hellespontus Montes, and we're looking at that object. Each side is about 6 meters long. So we're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sides, each about 6 meters long. Draw a center line through there, and we've got symmetry again in that piece. And there are some of the others featured in this video. Yeah, we've got one of two of these really long, narrow pieces. That's about 15 meters long and about 3 meters wide. And it's got this bevel cut into it. Get the straight edges there, 90-degree angle, yeah. And then the smaller part to the right, definitely bent down and then bent back again, 90-degree angles there. Slightly hollowed out on either end. And then another similar piece from the same video. That piece is about 12 meters long and about 3 meters wide. And it's also got a bevel on it, 90-degree angles over there and there. And there they are for you to compare. Right, this is from Mysterious Disc and Triangular Object found in Hellespontus Montes, with this small little triangle on top of a little base structure there, sticking over the dune. Let's see, each side of that triangle is about 2 to 3 meters long. Maybe it's even a little pyramid on top of that piece over here. Right, and we're looking at multiple similar pairs spotted south of Ionis Regio on Mars, and it's from the same region as the previous 2 or 3 anomalies, very close to Hellespontus Montes. We're looking at this little disk, and it's got a diameter of about 3 to 4 meters, and it's on top of a larger little structure over there which seems to be hollowed out, following the same pattern as the outside piece. I wonder if these are sunlight collectors or dishes. There's another one, same size, and it's also on a larger piece at the bottom there, also pointing in the same direction. That's why I say I wonder if it could be collecting sunlight. One of my subscribers actually suggested that, if I remember correctly, it seems to be mounted to this larger piece, which is also hollowed out. So there the two are. Check out the similarities again. It's not pointing in the same direction. These two photographs were taken some time apart, so at different times of the day. I wonder if these are rotatable. And then we're looking at two identical parts over there next to one another, and each of those is about 4 by 6 meters, 4 meters wide, 6 meters across, and in each of its centers you've got those two protrusions or parts, and they're facing the same direction. right next to one another. Undeniable similarities there again. And then another similar little triangle or pyramid there. Top of that structure also extending over that dune. And each side there's about 4 meters long, 4 by 4. Top of this larger base, check at the triangle, and there the two are side by side. And we're looking at a strange wheel-like anomaly over there, possibly even a little drone or craft. That thing is about 4 meters in diameter, and up close we can see the circular design, partially smashed up, and on top we've got a circular design. I'll feature another one in part 3, my friend Saturn Arc discovered. And then this is from disks and triangular objects found near Euripus Mons on Mars, and we'll be looking at that little piece in the center there. So it looks like a little craft measuring about 3 by 5 meters, and it's got a little dome on it, and then again arranged in a circular pattern around it. We've got those smaller parts. Okay, there are similar designs. This is from part 1, also a little part with a dome on it, the similarities there. Then the circular designs featured over here. Another disc over there, it's about 10 meters in diameter, and top of it we've got a little dome crashed here into the surface. And there are similar ones. These are from part 1 of this series. Just look at that. This one over here looks very much the same as that there. Okay, little triangles on larger structures. This one over here, each side is about 3 meters long, and it seems to be open on the one side here. Look at the two rounded parts here that come up to a point in line with that over there, that apex, and smaller parts on the front over here. And there are similar ones for you to compare. This is from part 1. Wow, with that said, I'm spent. Guys and girls, thanks for watching this one. Part 2, Remnants of an Ancient Civilization on Mars. The evidence thus far. The search for more anomalies will continue in 2020. I know these are long videos. I hope that you find them informative and interesting. Share it with your friends and folks that are like-minded. I think this is very compelling evidence. Thanks again for watching. Stay tuned for part 3, which will be the conclusion. I'll see you all then. Bye-bye for now.